What is this production?
Oh!
And the thing that I really appreciate about Tank is he's a dog. That kind of that what he just said. You can put them earmuffs up and go at it. He kind of will assess you as well, and whatever he needs to do, he'll do it.
Jake Paul has finally responded to the new sparring and training footage of Gervonta "Tank" Davis that's been taking over social media, and his reaction has everyone talking. The viral clip captures Davis looking sharper, quicker, and more explosive than ever as he gears up for his next fight, leaving fans wondering if this is the moment Tank steps fully into his prime. Davis built his legacy in the lighter divisions, usually fighting around 133 to 135 pounds, never officially stepping past 140 in his pro career. On the other hand, Paul is a true cruiserweight. His comfort zone sits near 200 pounds, and that's exactly where he's been weighing in for his recent fights. This isn't a small gap. It's several weight classes apart. And when that kind of distance exists, everything changes. The heavier fighter often brings more durability, more raw power, a stronger chin, and better leverage. It stops being just about skill. It becomes a test of who can take the hit and still keep coming forward.
Something else that's unfortunate is the idea that Jake Paul might actually fight Gervonta "Tank" Davis. This can't be real. When it came up a couple of months ago, I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna cover this because there's no way it's real. There's no way they're really gonna do that because it makes no sense. Why would you do that for him? Outside of it, like, okay, you can look at it like an exhibition, which it will be, and we'll take a look at some of the rule set for it. But Gervonta Davis is one of, if not the best, biggest names at 135 pounds, and is an active in his prime fighter. I don't want to hear the similar to Floyd and Logan thing, because at that point, Floyd was retired. Floyd had done all he needed to do in the sport. Tank is still in his prime, still has multiple high-level opponents that he needs to fight. And you could say, oh, you know, the Jake would be a one-off. Side quest. That's fine, but that just tells me that Tank doesn't care about being a high-level champion in the sport anymore.
Carmelo Martin recently reflected on a sparring session he had with Davis back when Tank was just 15 or 16. He admitted he was nervous at first, but said things quickly turned into a chess match. Less about power, more about timing, speed, and counters. Martin recalled that Davis never tried to blast him out with full force. Instead, they flowed through angles and rhythm, trading strategy with every move. He said Davis's strength was clear, but when it came to pure skill and quickness, it was an even exchange. Martin described the session as fun, challenging, and a defining lesson in his growth as a fighter.
What was it like when you sparred him? I know you sparred Tank early on. Yeah. What was that experience like? Like, replay that experience for me. Like, you coming out of it, what was your thought?
Yeah. I was nervous at first. I think I was 15 at the time we sparred, so he wasn't really like trying to knock me out or nothing like that. But we was going like, he was using the speed on me. Like, we was both like going speed for speed, and it was great. It was like a chess match.
Did you understand in that moment like why he is who he is?
Yeah. I seen why he's able to beat these guys. Then I also seen why I'm so like. Yeah. I got all this hype around me too.
Sean Porter came to Davis's defense after the announcement of his exhibition with Jake Paul, saying critics are missing the real story. To Porter, this fight isn't about chasing greatness. It's about securing long-term stability for Davis and his family. Since it's an exhibition, the danger is minimized with clear rules and safety measures, keeping the focus on entertainment. Porter pointed out that fighters don't get long careers. Every opportunity counts for exposure and financial security. From that view, Tank taking this fight isn't selling out. It's a smart move to protect his future while still putting on a show. Porter's words draw a line between purists chasing legacy and fighters who have to think about life after boxing.
They're trying to make it safer and, you know, all those sorts of things, but there's still this pureness to boxing that really doesn't exist in sports anymore, but it's still there with boxing. I think that's why people have such a problem with this kind of move from Tank Davis?
Is it more the heart? How do you guys feel being boxers?
Man, like once you hear the numbers, I'm like, they're talking like I don't know the official one. They're talking about like 100 mil.
Oh damn.
Like, they're talking about these insane numbers. Like I'm gonna be like, don't take that. I'm not gonna tell another man not to take that type of check, especially for something like that. It's not on your official record. It's an exhibition. I'm not gonna lie here and act like I'm not gonna say yes to 100 million or something like that. But I do see exactly what you're saying about the essence of boxing. I wish they would kind of separate it a little more because exhibitions have always been a thing. There's always been an argument.
Right.
But they're just selling it like a real fight almost.
Right.
So I think that maybe if we could create a better like distinction, more of a difference.
Right.
There might be less hate on it, but at the end of the day, man, I'm not gonna tell Tank not to take that fight.
And I said this last year. I said create a influencer title. And let those guys fight over there in the influencer world. They can live the world and the life of I'm a world champion without having to do something like this. Now, the issue for this that I have is you have a legitimate 135-pound champion fighter getting in the ring with a 190-pound guy, whatever it is that Jake Paul is at. So now we already let's really answer this thing.
On the other hand, many argue that despite all the excitement, the size difference turns this fight into more of a spectacle than a truly fair contest. Even the promoters seem to recognize that reality. They've introduced special safety measures, like a 195-pound catch weight, bigger gloves, and an exhibition label, all to minimize the risks. For those backing Davis, it's not really about weight, it's about pedigree. He's faced elite world champions, while Jake's resume is still light on true boxing experience. In their eyes, Davis won't just hold his own. He'll slip inside, land crisp shots, and make Jake look off balance, no matter how big the size gap may be.
Comment about it. My question is, what's the rules? And like, are they going to actually try and knock each other out? Because it's going to be a glorified sparring match. I'm not watching, dude. I don't give a fuck.
Jake's going to have a hard time hitting him.
Yeah.
You know?
Big time. Gervonta's so fast and skilled.
Gervonta's going to eat his
I thought
guts.
Jake was going to fight Anthony Joshua. That seemed
No, that was actually getting.
That is
sounded
the
more
craziest
interesting.
idea I've ever heard. Jake Paul trying to fight Anthony Joshua is, crazy.
Not a sanctioned professional bout. This means the fight will not count towards either fighter's professional records.
So it's still being finalized.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that.
What is so behind the scenes? You think there are things like, hey, we don't punch each other in the jaw.
Yep. Or don't go. We can punch in the face, but don't go for broke. Like, don't knock me out.
Really?
Yeah. It's an exhibition.
That's
so
not
they
very
can get away
interesting
with
to
it.
me.
No. Until I find the rule sets, but when I hear exhibition, I'm like, okay.
Jake is bodied up, man.
He's big.
Yeah.
Probably has 100 pounds on Gervonta.
Maybe. I'd say Gervonta probably walks at 150.
Oh, he's so small.
He's so small. I mean, he's really small. Bring up Gervonta Davis next to Floyd Mayweather, because I've seen Floyd in person, and he's tiny. You've seen Floyd in person.
I've worked with Gervonta and Floyd.
Tiny.
Well, Floyd
dude.
likely has shoes on there.
Oh, dude, he's so small.
He's tiny, guys.
Yeah. I mean, he's so small. Wow. Great fighter.
Chael Sonnen recently took aim at Jake Paul's decision to move away from an Anthony Joshua fight in favor of facing Gervonta Tank Davis, calling it a major step down from what fans were led to expect. Sonnen argued that, unlike Paul, Tank isn't a natural showman when it comes to selling fights or building hype. He speaks through his fists, not through headlines, and while that works in the ring, it doesn't always sell pay-per-views. Though Sonnen respects Tank's elite skill and credibility, he believes the fight's buzz will rely more on Jake's talent for storytelling and self-promotion than on the matchup itself. In his eyes, it's Paul's marketing engine, not just the punches, that will carry this event.
It is the exact opposite of Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul for 2. So the fight that was being dangled and rumored in front of us, the exact opposite has happened. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is not fighting nobody. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is fighting Tank Davis. Okay. So there's one big glaring issue for me. It's just your partner being Tank Davis. Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. It could be a title fight, a contender's fight, a main event fight. He could be the favorite. He could be the underdog. Tank doesn't know how to bring that information to you guys in a way that is compelling. And Tank is already blinking in this situation. You have one guy who is argued amongst the pound for pound current greats in boxing. You have another guy that has suggested he should not even be allowed to box, that he should have to call it something different. He should not be licensed. He should not be ranked in the top 14. He should never be selected for a world title. Okay. Now, Tank has one job to do, which is to let anybody know that's listening that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport.
Meanwhile, Davis's perception of Jake Paul has noticeably changed over time. In the beginning, he brushed Paul off as just another loud, attention-chasing entertainer, someone more focused on spectacle than substance. He mocked Paul's claims and saw him as a sideshow in the boxing world. But as Paul started training seriously and proving his commitment, Davis's tone began to shift. He since acknowledged Paul's discipline, mental toughness, and effort in the gym. Though he still doesn't see Paul as elite boxing material, Davis has grown more open to the idea of facing him, partly recognizing the massive spotlight and attention that come with Paul's name.
How about Jake? What do you think of Jake?
Clown. He's a clown. I know that Jake can't fight. He can't fight. So
Would you look at it as a joke if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like, come
yeah,
on, man?
I laugh at him. You want me to fight him? At first, I didn't like how Jake Paul was coming because of how he was making it look. But now that I see that, I feel as though he's still a clown because that's his personality. I'm starting to respect it because he's not doing it like for the hype. He was really like trying to be a boxer. I think that he's decent.
Yeah.
Like he's good. I mean, he's not good, but he's going that way.
Is he better than you thought he'd be?
Yeah.
Gotta be mentally tough to be in the box. So that's why I don't take that away from some fighters or some people that want to jump into the sport. So just show how tough you are. That's how it should be.
Especially after Jake Paul's dominant win over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., the respect he's earned within the boxing world has grown in a big way. The Anaheim event broke the venue's all-time gate record, surpassing shows once led by elite champions, a clear sign of Paul's skyrocketing commercial pull. Even respected names like Oscar de la Hoya now admit Paul's seriousness about the sport, saying he could one day be a legitimate title contender. And Manny Pacquiao, too, has acknowledged that no matter what skeptics say, Paul's dedication is undeniable. That fight didn't just boost his popularity, it proved his technical growth, as analysts praised his composure and command inside hostile territory.
Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So Jake Paul, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., it's a real fight. Yeah. Look, people keep talking about Jake Paul, well, he's not a real fighter, this and that. Well, he's fighting a real fighter now in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. It's going to be a good test for both guys. Obviously, Jake Paul, he's a masterclass promoter in what he does. He's been doing some great things. I mean, Mike Tyson, 60 million people. Fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who, when he trains, when he gets in shape, when he's focused, he will be dangerous for anybody. Look, Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr., it's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So there's a lot of stories to come out from this, a lot of great stories for Jake Paul. So I just feel honored and proud that we can team up with MVP Promotions, with Jake Paul, and we can make Zurdo Ramirez with Torticos the mandatory. That's going to be a bloodbath in itself, so we're excited.
Jake Paul has officially declared that his next chapter in boxing is just getting started, and this time, he's going after real boxers across the divisions. Fresh off his win over Andre August, Paul made it clear he's done with crossover or MMA opponents. Now his focus is on the traditional path, locking in on legitimate professional fighters. In a CNN interview, he doubled down, saying he wants to face everyone, especially the toughest names, the ones where he's the underdog, the ones that force him to prove himself. That same determination echoes through his posts and interviews. Paul's message is simple. He's ready to leave the spectacle behind and build a real boxing legacy, taking on credible opponents to show he truly belongs at the sport's top level.
So everybody's been calling you out, Daniel Dubois, Ryan Garcia, all these people. Who's the most enticing to you?
I don't know, like, I want to fight them all, to be honest. I just need the time. So I probably will literally fight all of them. So they're all enticing to me.
However, the massive weight gap between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis proved impossible to ignore, leading Georgia officials to decline approval for the matchup. As a result, Paul's team withdrew their permit application and shifted the event to Miami instead. The move underscored just how complex setting up major exhibition bouts can be, where regulators weigh safety, fairness, and risk just as heavily as profit. For Davis, Georgia's rejection serves as a reminder of the ongoing skepticism that still follows him. For Paul, moving the fight to Miami feels right in line with his flair for spectacle, keeping headlines hot and the buzz alive. The change not only alters how fans perceive the event, but also reshapes logistics, revealing just how fragile the business of boxing really is.
There's no way in hell this fight was ever going to happen. And the fact that y'all believed it, I don't know, you're stupid. So Rick Thompson, chairman of the Georgia Athletic Commission, told USA Today Sports that Paul's promotion company withdrew its request for permits and a rule waiver, citing the 65-pound weight difference between the fighters. The Rick Thompson guy straight up said they've been promoting something they should not have been. Come on, guys, like, use your brains. Y'all boxing fans, you understand this. This fight was never going to happen. This is the article from USA Today. It says the status of the proposed fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis under scrutiny because of the weight discrepancy between the two fighters. Rick Thompson is coming out and saying this stuff because he said he believes it's in the public's best interest to know that they've been promoting something they should not have been. Communications director for the Office of the Secretary of State told USA Today Sports the event will not be happening. But funny enough, tickets are still available. You could still purchase them online, and the fight is still listed on the State Farm Arena event.
Critics argue that Jake Paul's rise in boxing hasn't just been fueled by promotion. It's been powered by a quiet kind of disrespect toward the sport's past generations. They say that by luring retired legends back into the ring with promises of massive paydays, Paul chips away at boxing's integrity. Even icons like Mike Tyson have been drawn back after years away, sparking excitement among fans, but also stirring genuine concern about safety and the fine line between spectacle and sport.
Out there taking on Mike Tyson that's pushing 60 years old, for crying out loud, but at the same time pretending to be like this badass motherfucker, sending me DMs talking. He offered me a contract a long time ago, and I was like, what are you doing? I'm a retired fighter and I've got one eye. Why would I want to fight you? I wouldn't lower myself to doing that. I know a lot of people do that. They do lower themselves, if you want to say that, because of the payday, because Jake Paul is a big name. He is a social media sensation. He's a YouTube star. And now, of course, in the world of boxing, he's one of boxing's biggest stars because he puts on these spectacles like Paul versus Tyson, like Nate Diaz, because these are the fighters, these are the names that attract the eyes. Jake Paul is the B-side to almost every single one of his fights. When he fought Nate Diaz, people were tuning in for Nate Diaz. His last fight, against Cesar Chavez Jr., apparently no one watched that fight. Apparently the pay-per-views were ridiculously low. So this one's going back to Netflix on November 14th, and it's an exhibition bout. Of course, it's an exhibition bout because no athletic commission in their right mind will sanction this fight. There's just no way you can make this a legitimate fight because of the size advantage. Typically, this would be very, very dangerous and someone could get really hurt. If Jake Paul was to swing as hard as he could and connect and wobble him and hit him many, many times and not knock him out, with the bigger gloves and the concussion possibilities and the brain rattling round inside the head, and Jake Paul just teeing off at him as hard as he could, it's dangerous. That's why fights like this can't get sanctioned. That's why this is a exhibition bout and not a real matchup. Now listen, they're both going to get paid tremendously. They're going to make a ton of money and a lot of people are going to tune in and watch it on Netflix. Fair play.
In the end, the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis showdown captures how thin the line between sport and entertainment has become. What some call a mismatch, others see as a bold business move, one that brings both fighters massive exposure, big paydays, and new opportunities. The weight difference, venue changes, promotional chess moves, and endless debates over legitimacy will always surround this fight. But for fans, critics, and insiders alike, the real intrigue lies in watching how these two very different fighters handle the pressure, the perception, and the aftermath once the lights hit. Whether it's remembered as a circus or a turning point for crossover boxing, its impact will linger long after the final bell.
Optically, visually, seeing that go viral, and I mean go viral, and Jake Paul will never hear the end of it.
Help you up. We're gonna see about it. Help you up. We're gonna see.
Because Gervonta Tank Davis is not only a real boxer, he's a real boy. He's 5'5". He's a lightweight. Skills pay the bills. Let him knock out Jake Paul, give him Bambi legs, or knock him down. Gervonta Tank Davis, that moment will go viral, and he will be a far bigger, well-known boxer than he is today, and he will also be a hero. And that's the Black Two Sugars. That you guys don't want to admit it. Don't bull jive. Think about it.
So, what do you think? Does this fight actually make sense? Or is it just too one-sided to take seriously? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's see where fans really stand on this one.